say that.
You've never enjoyed a good hate fuck?
I mean, no. I can't have
Nothing
sex with
better than
someone unless I'm like into them. As soon as someone does something that I don't like.
I mean, if you really hate them, that's kind of a form of being into them, right?
No, that's not.
To be fair, I've done it twice, and I hated it both times. So.
Okay, it's not. You're okay. Well, there's so much to unpack here, and I don't even know where to begin. That's one. I don't let things get that far with people. Like to hate someone, like it won't get to like seething hatred. I don't go there. So hate fucking would never be an option for me. But for you, what the fuck you just said?
To be clear, I do not hate these individuals.
Exactly.
They're my friends.
You're saying you hate the action, and that's what I thought was funny. That it was the act of fucking that you hate.
I did. And then with one of them, with the first one, it was really awkward because
Isn't that always what sex with you was like?
Well, because I tried to be
so
very
stiff.
clear, like, hey, like, I'm literally just using you. I'm in a mood. Do you understand the situation? And they were like, yeah, definitely. But then, like, the whole time, they were, like, making jokes like, oh, what if we get married? And I'm just like, that's not even on the table here.
Well, first of all, oh, boy. Oh, good grief.
There's
what
a different
you
way.
Said
I feel like there's a
them,
different way to put that.
Well, what you said to them, they probably thought it was a joke, dude. What? Just to be clear, I'm using you, and I'm in a mood.
Well, I had never shown any sort of like romantic intent with this person at all.
Right.
So it was just like an in the moment thing.
Right.
Or I was just like, hey, you want to go do that for a minute? You know?
God, I'm so uncomfortable right now.
It's like a cat in heat.
Dismissive at all other times. Stacey lifts her tail up, aggressively showing herself.
Okay. I'm kind of uncomfortable now.
Oh, now you're uncomfortable? Okay. We're not in the business of listening to men.
No.
You're listening to The Good, the Bad, and the Funny. I'm your host, Jesse McIntyre. And a bad fact about me is that I bite my fingernails. And last week, I fed some to the dog when no one was looking.
That's not okay. Why would you do that? Were you on drugs?
No, I was stone sober.
I don't even know what my fact is going to be, and I'm just so mad at you right now. What?
Yeah,
Feed that to your own stupid fucking dog.
I do.
What is wrong with you?
She looked hungry.
I'm
you
calling the
guys
authorities.
are hung up on the fact that I fed Poppy my fingernails when you should be praising me for the fact that I'm willing to throw myself under the bus for a bit.
Yeah, okay. All right. I'm your other host, Lynette Thomas. And a funny fact about me is I can't drink out of bottles. Where I don't know if I can't. I just, every time I do it, I'm like, I'm not doing it right. It's not.
Oh, that's funny.
You're like
it's
Donald
not
Trump,
as
like
efficient. And it always feels weird because I don't know. Because if I try to get the most amount of liquid out of said bottle, it looks like I'm deep throating a bottle. And if I try to like sip out of it, I spill it all over myself. and if I try to avoid either of those things, I create like a weird suction with my lips, and it makes it just an untenable process. So I don't think I know how to drink out of bottles.
what is wrong with you?
I think I'm autistic.
Oh, okay.
So there's that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have difficulty drinking certain things. Like straws. A couple days ago, I was drinking out of a straw, and it like went back like right out of my face.
I was gonna say, I knew it. You choked on it?
Well, no, it just like splashed into my face.
Well, how did that happen?
How?
You created a backdraft?
I guess. The suction was weird, and when I took it out of my mouth, it just went in my face. I don't know.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
All right, you want to introduce yourself?
All right, I'm your other host, Stacey Stark. And a good fact about me is that I potentially saved a dude's life last night.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, I was driving and I saw this guy laying on the sidewalk, and then I called 911 because like he
Pause.
looked.
Because you need to say where you were. So that's kind of important.
Oh, I was on Washington Boulevard between Lafayette and Clinton.
Oh shit! Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know why that's important though.
She's downtown.
Yeah.
It's important because that's why it's good. If somebody saw someone laying on the sidewalk in the suburbs, you'd be like, oh my God, that's out of place. But you were downtown where
It's not really that out of
it's-
place.
Yeah.
it's not out of
It's a
place.
common occurrence.
Yeah, but I mean, I could just tell by his vibe that he was like needed help.
Yeah, not doing good.
Yeah, but like I called 911 and they were like, "Well, are you with him?" And I was like, "Well, no, like I'm a tiny little woman, so I don't feel comfortable, but someone needs to help that guy." And then like I pulled back around and by the time I like went around the block, there were already like ambulances and police cars there.
Amazing.
Yeah. I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
I'm just saying most people would, even if he didn't look like his, even though his vibe was off and he looked like not just a drug addict or homeless person, most people wouldn't have because it's downtown and like you don't involve yourself in downtown shenanigans.
Right. Definitely.
So good on you.
Thank you.
Lynette,
Yeah.
why don't you spin us a yarn?
Let me weave you a tale. Okay, guys, today we are going to talk about the assassination of Archduke Ferdinand.
Oh shit!
Oh, I thought you were gonna say RFK.
Is that a disappointment to you?
Yeah, I'm like kind of obsessed with the Kennedys, so.
Well, have I
Dude,
got
your
a
obsessions
story
are
for
whack.
you?
Stop. So I want to talk about this. Archduke Ferdinand, his assassination is the reason World War I happened and the reason why World War II happened because of World War I. The reason
Also that band?
the reason that what?
That band?
It's Franz Ferdinand.
Isn't that the same Ferdinand?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
him.
Yeah. He's responsible for that band, is what I'm saying.
Oh, yes. I was like, what's the bit? I was confused about what the bit was, but okay, yes. Okay, so
Wait, back up. So his assassination started World War One.
yes, I was about to explain why.
Oh, okay.
So the reason his assassination started World War I is because he was from he was in line to take over for the Austrian-Hungarian Empire. And part of the Austrian-Hungarian Empire was like within it was the country of Bosnia. And Bosnia wanted to be independent. The country right next to Bosnia, Serbia, also wanted Bosnia to be independent, right? So when Archduke was going to take power, the Serbians and the Bosnians kind of conspired to have him assassinated, cause upheaval so Bosnia could go and be independent. Now, Austrian-Hungary was backed by Germany and Serbia was backed by Russia. So when this shit goes down, it was more seen as an act of war. Europe at that time was a lot of like big countries backing little countries over little disputes. So then because of all of the alliances and allegiances, that's why this led to World War I.
Not unlike the U.S. and the Middle East now.
Absolutely. I mean, also, that conflict kind of snakes its way from these conflicts.
Yeah.
It's fucking crazy. The European history, like Europe and Russia, like that history is the most fascinating fucking history, dude. Like Rasputin, like there's so many like crazy characters that cause like massive fucking ripple effects that we still kind of feel today.
Yeah,
and,
for sure.
And it was just kind of a crazy shit show. Like
9/11 is kind of the indirect result of all
so
of this
crazy.
shit.
Okay, so back to Archduke Ferdinand. So Ferdinand was going to take over the Austrian-Hungarian Empire in Bosnia, conspired with Serbia to have him assassinated so that they could cause upheaval and Bosnia could be independent. So Ferdinand was set to make an appearance, kind of on a campaign trail, was set to make an appearance in Bosnia and do kind of like a little parade. So him and his wife were going there to do a parade. It was planned months in advance. So Serbia took these Bosnians, led by a guy named Iliak, who was part of the Serbian government and military. The Serbian government and military decided to get a group of Bosnians together to assassinate Archduke Ferdinand, backed by Serbian weaponry and stuff like that, right? So the Bosnians, the group of Bosnians that were led by Iliak to do, or Ilik, I can't remember his name, to do this attack, they were called the Black Hand. The 6 men who had carried out the assassination, these names are kind of important, but I am going to butcher them. The 6 Bosnians that would do the assassination was Muhammad Vezo Nedeljko, I'm going to assume, because his name is spelled like Cvjetko, and I'm just going to assume that the C and V is silent, so we call him that nigga Jetko. A guy named Trifko and Gavrilo Princip. Okay.
I think you probably nailed 100%
Hopefully,
of those
I
names.
nailed some of them. So, okay. This assassination attempt immediately got off to a bad start. They were supposed to be smuggling the weapons for the assassination from Serbia to Bosnia, to this little town in Bosnia where the shit was going down. They were supposed to be smuggling it on a sugar shipment, but they were like super scared leading up to the attack that they told the sugar people to go to the wrong city, which makes me laugh because it reminds me of me. You do something in advance and then you're just super worried that like, did we tell them to go to the right?
Right.
Did
Yeah,
we
definitely.
send the sugar shipment to the right place?
Did I turn the oven off?
Exactly. But it's like 6 guys and they're about to assassinate someone.
Did we pack the guns? Oh shit.
That's a really funny time to feel that.
I think so too. Then there was infighting within their organization because Muhammad was being just loud and abrasive out on the streets, and they were like, he's not secure enough in this operation. He's going to basically ring the alarm because he keeps fucking talking to people. So they were kind of like iffy about that guy. Okay. So this operation was so crazy because like right before the operation, so they, like I said, they planned it 3 months in advance. Ilic was told by generals within the Serbian army, like, the operation's a go, everything's good. And then like 2 weeks later, a message came that was like, actually, no, the operation's off. And then he got, like 2 weeks later, got another message that was like, no, it is on, we're doing it. And then when the assassination was like taking place, someone was on their way to tell Ilic that the assassination was off again. So,
Jesus Christ. Get it together.
get it together, Serbia. What are you doing?
Okay, so this is the Black Hand?
Yes.
How can you have such a badass name and just be so incompetent
It's so
at your
inept.
job?
Yeah. Yeah.
I would be so nervous and uncomfortable if I was any one of those people.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that comes into play. So, June 28th, 1914, Ferdinand and his wife entered this town of Cervejo. Cervejo. That's the name of it. They enter Cervejo. That's the name of it. I think that's the name of it. There's a J in there. A J-O? Okay, so they enter this little town, and there's like a street, like a main road that crosses one intersection and then leads to the courthouse. I'm just mapping out what their journey is supposed to be. So they get out of the train station, go down the main road. They're supposed to go to this courthouse, double back, take the intersection like to the right, and then go up to like a museum. Okay. So On the entrance into the town, before that intersection, there's like, it's a parade. So there's a bunch of people on the road. Off of the road on one side is a bridge. So the way that the assassins were set up is that, like, coming into the town, there's going to be Muhammad and Vaso on one side of the road. On the other side of the road is Nedeljenko, who's standing on the bridge. Now, it's not certain where the other assassins were stationed, but probably one by the intersection, one closer to the courthouse, one up there by the museum, one would assume. Okay, so Muhammad, who's the first assassin, is supposed to be the one to take the shot. Every assassin is armed with a bomb, a pistol, and a cyanide pill. So, like, if Ferdinand is too far away for you to shoot him, throw the bomb. And then, after you've assassinated him, take the cyanide pill and kill yourself is the plan.
Thorough. They thought of everything.
Yeah, and so Muhammad's supposed to do it, but they had the other one stationed around in case something went wrong and he could not do it. So, as far as Ferdinand's concerned, he gets off the train with his wife. There's going to be a parade of 6 cars. Ferdinand is the third car, the only car that's a convertible, right? They're supposed to be like guards.
Convertible has been the downfall of so many politicians.
Stop letting them drive with the top down. It's crazy.
The Pope had it right.
Yes, bomb proof. So he's supposed to. So okay. There's the line of 6 cars. There's supposed to be police officers and the other few cars to protect them, but in the middle is Ferdinand and his wife. Well, immediately when they get to the fucking train station and start driving, for some reason the police, like the police officer in charge, forgot 3 of his men. So 3 of the cars were left with like just a driver. And no guards or police.
What the fuck?
So they are also incompetent as fuck. Okay, so they're traveling along, and before they get to the intersection, they pass Muhammad, who is a 30-year-old man, and I assume because he was 30 and like shit was cool with him, he just didn't take the shot because he didn't want to kill himself with the cyanide pill. So the car passes them. Also, the dude next to him, Vasco, also didn't take the shot because he was 17, and that's probably why he didn't. He was just young. He was also dying from tuberculosis, so that's why he like agreed to do this. But then he was like, I don't know, man.
He just needed some Johnson & Johnson in his
more
life.
to live for. So they didn't take the shot. The car continues to go, and they pass by the bridge with Nedeljenko on it, right? They pass by the bridge, and he throws the fucking bomb. Now, Nedeljenko was also dying of tuberculosis. So he was like, yeah, that's fine. So he throws the bomb. The bomb misses, like hitting the car. It bounced off the back of the convertible top and hit the car behind, like rolled under the car behind it.
Oh no.
And then exploded. Okay. Not killing Ferdinand or his wife. Their car was completely fine. Didn't kill the people that were in the car, but because didn't kill the people that were in the car that actually like was impacted by the bomb.
Right.
But what it did was it injured like 20 people on the road.
Just like
because
people.
it was a parade. So it injured the 20 people around, right? So Nedeljenko's like, okay, well, I guess I gotta go now. So he pops the cyanide pill and then jumps into the river, okay? Well, the cyanide pill was old, so it didn't kill him.
Oh, God.
And the river was in its dry season and it was only 13 centimeters deep at the time. So he just breaks both of his legs and starts violently vomiting. And the people just saw this nigga throw a bomb, right? So then they come and they just beat the shit out of this man in this standing water. And then the cops arrest him.
Oh,
And
that's
they
so
probably
tragic.
beat the shit out of him too, presumably.
Poor Nettlejenko. So at this point, Franz Ferdinand and his wife know that they're getting assassinated, or there's assassination attempts. So they just like speed to the courthouse. And the rest of the assassins that are like around, they flee too. So all of them flee. So they pass the intersection. Everybody flees except for Gavrilo Princip, who is dedicated to the cause. And he's like, well, shit's not going right. We'll probably not get an attempt, like another opportunity to try to assassinate this man, because everybody's, red flags are up that something's going on. But I'm just going to hang out at this sandwich shop by the intersection up to the museum, right? So the car passes Franz Ferdinand passes the intersection, and he heads to the courthouse where the mayor was delivering a speech, and Franz Ferdinand goes up and like interrupts the speech, and he's like, "Mr. Mayor, I came for a visit and am greeted by bombs. It is outrageous." So Ferdinand then goes up and gives a speech, and goes up to give a speech, but realizes that his speech is not on him. It was in the car that actually was hit by the bomb before, is where his speech was. So somebody had to like run back and get it, which is crazy that they did. But somebody ran back to go get the speech, which was covered in blood.
Jesus Christ.
So he gets the speech, he delivers a speech and adds an addendum of like, I love the people in the town of Cervejo because they rejoiced at the failure of my assassination attempt, which is funny because, spoiler alert, he does eventually get assassinated. So it's just funny that he's like, yeah, you guys failed. Okay, all right.
I was just shaking my head at his hubris. I'm entranced right now.
Okay, so they decided while they were at the courthouse, all the mayor, the town leaders or whatever, decided with Franz Ferdinand and his wife that they were not going to go to the museum as originally planned. They weren't going to go back into the middle of town to go up that road to the museum. What they were going to do was cut through the back alleys of the town and go visit the 20 people that were injured from the bombing. So that's what they decided to do. They decided this within the courthouse, and nobody decided to tell the drivers that they changed the plans. So the drivers were informed that they were going to go to the hospital instead, but the hospital was like, if you went back into town, up the intersection to the museum, the hospital was right down the street from the museum. So they just assumed, okay, we're taking that same route back up, but instead of going to the museum, we're going to the hospital, right? They so the drivers start going back into, that on that main street back into town. And then the people that were from the town, the officials that were from the town, and I will say it's now a 5-car procession, and Franz and Franz Ferdinand and his wife are now the 3rd car, right? So they start to go. I think the mayor and them were in the 1st car, and he realizes they're going the wrong way. So he tells his driver, like, oh, hey, we're actually going this way. And so the first 2 cars cut off, right? To go the backwards route.
This is his security that's leaving?
Correct. Well, it's like all of the cars with various officials.
Okay.
And some like police officer and guards, right?
Okay.
Now, because I do need to point out that because the assassination attempt was happening, like so they decided to have a guard on to ride on the outside, like in a little buggy type thing on the outside of Franz Ferdinand's car, on the left side of the car, because that's where the bomb came from.
Okay.
First time. I mean, technically it was the right side, but they're driving down in the opposite direction that they. Does that make sense? So So there's somebody hanging out of the left side of the car. Also, while they were back at the courthouse, someone told the mayor, like, hey, why don't we get the military to just line the street and protect Franz Ferdinand? And the mayor was like, no, they don't have the outfits for the occasion. And just said no. So that couldn't happen, right? Okay. So anyway,
have our boys out there scaring the hoes.
So back to where we were. So they're driving back down towards the middle of town. The mayor and whoever was in the second car realizes that they're going the wrong way, and they veer off to go through the back alleys. The three back cars also realize, like, oh no, we're supposed to be going the back alleys. They veer off, but Franz Ferdinand is not from there. So he had no idea
Yeah, they were going the
that
wrong
they
way.
were going the wrong way and not going through the back alleys. So he doesn't say shit. So now Franz Ferdinand is alone. His only safeguard is a dude that's on the left side, hanging out the left side of his car. At this point, they realize they're going the wrong way. So they're about to pass the intersection. They realize they're going the wrong way. So the guy, it was the guard that's on the outside of, like, the left side of the car. He's like, oh, hey, we're supposed to be going the back way. And we lost all of our, like, people and protection. So you're going to need to, like, stop, reverse so we can go a back way. But the car couldn't reverse.
What?
Their car did not have reversible technology. It was 1914. But this was the only car in the procession that couldn't fucking reverse, right? So...
Why'd they put him in the whack car?
So the car,
no reverse?
I don't know. So probably because you could either have reverse or a convertible. You cannot have both in this
You
world.
could look dope or you could be safe.
Exactly. So their car didn't reverse. They were going to have to basically stop the car and then, like, push it around backwards. So that's what they decided to do. So they're by the intersection when they make this plan up. They turn up the intersection directly next to the sandwich shop. The car stops, and then the driver gets out so he could maneuver the car around by hand. And Gavrilo walks out of the sandwich shop, and he sees the dude that he was commissioned to fucking assassinate just directly in front of him, with his only protection being on the other side of the car because the dude is on the left side. So all Gavrilo does is walk like 20 steps forward, takes out his pistol, and shoots Franz Ferdinand in the neck. And then shoots the wife in the chest. Yeah.
That sucks.
Yeah, okay. So he just, like... I just think it's so funny that he was just chilling at a sandwich shop and he was like, oh, damn, let me put my pastrami down.
Could you imagine being inside of a Subway?
I gotta go kill this nigga real quick. So he goes out, he shoots him in the neck, and then he shoots Sophia, Franz Ferdinand's wife, in the chest. And he wasn't trying to shoot Sophia. He was trying to shoot the guard that's out the other side of the window. But when he shoots Franz Ferdinand, Sophia jumps up to, like, grab her husband, and he accidentally shot her in the chest instead of shooting the guard on the other side of the car. And he felt so bad about that he went to go just put the pistol in his mouth and kill himself, but the pistol does not go off in time, and he's tackled by police officers and is arrested. And that's how Franz Ferdinand died.
Damn.
A series of unfortunate events. A couple of addendums to this story, though. So he, like, when the trial was going on, he Gavrilo repeatedly, like, apologized, like, again and again and again for killing Sophia, because she really had nothing to do with anything. And she was a woman, and he basically orphaned her kids, so he felt just pretty awful about that. After they arrested everyone and they went to trial, the trial took a long time because all of the Bosnians were like, the Serbians made us do it. Like, we didn't actually want to be here. The Serbians made us be here. So it ends up like everyone got a pretty light sentence. So I'm just going to go through the sentences real quick. Ilic, the guy, the Serbian who kind of got these Bosnians together, he was hanged. Because it was basically considered an act of war, which then led to World War One.
Right.
So that guy pretty much started World War One single-handedly. So he was hanged. Gavrilo and Nedelchenko, they got 20 years, even though Gavrilo was the one that that actually shot him. Both of them were like 17. So because they were so young and they both had tuberculosis, they were given 20 years, but they both died in prison from TB. Vasco was given 16 years and Jetko was given 13 years. Mohammed ran away. He fled. And he went to Montenegro to like live out the rest of his life. But then one day somebody was like, nigga, wasn't you that guy that was involved in the conspiracy? And he was like, oh yeah, I am that guy. But so much time had passed, they just gave him 4 years. People, though, have a conspiracy that Muhammad was actually like a snitch and was working for both sides because he didn't pull the trigger when he was supposed to. He was the one being all loud that they were worried about in the beginning.
Oh, sure.
And he only got a 4-year sentence. And it's like they let you leave and then everybody else got arrested. They let you leave and then you only got a 4-year sentence.
Didn't try to hunt you down or
exactly.
nothing.
So that is my story.
That was wild. Wait, so what did you have?
Funny. It was funny.
It was funny.
Okay.
It's hilarious.
Okay. Well, it's also kind of bad. And that
it caused 2 Great World Wars and led to Nazism.
Yeah.
Well, hey,
that's
look
true.
at the bright side. If those 2 world wars hadn't have happened, none of us might even be here right now.
What? How?
Butterfly effect?
Right. Okay.
With Ashton Kutcher?
Yeah.
I don't know if I would. I'd give up my existence for the world wars to not happen.
For
I'd be
no
fine with
Holocaust?
that.
Yeah.
I'd be cool with that. You know why I find this story to be so funny though is that so much came out of this event. So many people died off of this event. And it was just the shit show of the fucking century. Mm-hmm. Everyone was kind of a bumbling idiot. And like the fact that he was actually assassinated truly just happened by accident because his car didn't go in reverse.
Damn.
And the mayor didn't want people lying in the street because they wasn't in the right uniform to
Think of how many people died because of...
There were so many opportunities for this to not occur. And that it did occur was pure accidental. Like, I don't know. It's just fascinating to me and very silly. History is very silly.
It's sad. It kind of bummed me out.
It's very silly.
I don't know. I feel like as comedians, though, it's kind of our job to look at things through that lens.
Yeah. I think you're just being an asshole right now because the story is so fucking funny.
I mean, it's funny. It's definitely funny.
Like, dude, trying to kill himself and then just breaking both of his legs.
Oh, that's hilarious.
And then getting the shit beat out of him.
For sure.
And he is already dying of TB at this time. And
the fucking cyanide. He's like puking up blood and foam and shit, you know?
You're like, I don't give a fuck, dude. We saw you throw that bomb, dumbass.
Why didn't he had a pistol. Why didn't he just...
Because he was on a bridge, I would assume. He was elevated on a bridge. So the pistol would be too far of a shot.
That's a big risk, assuming the cyanide capsule takes effect before you hit the ground. Or would you think
he thought that the river had enough water in it.
Oh, yeah, sure. I forgot about that. I forgot about the shallow river. I forgot about the shallow river. What an idiot.
Die floating down the river. But yeah, that's the story.
That's actually not a bad plan if that had worked out.
Absolutely. But it went so funny and wrong. Like,
you know what I'm wondering, though, is if he had TB, all those people that beat the crap out of him, did they also get...
I don't think that's how you get...
Isn't it airborne?
TB. I mean, yeah, but I mean, people still survived in society around people with TB. That's why it like generally affected people that were like in close quarters with those effects.
So if you're living in like a small 1-bedroom tenement, yeah, you're probably gonna get TB. But
So that was another question of mine, though. You may have said this, but did they choose people who were already dying to do the assassination?
No,
sort of a
because
suicide
like Muhammad was not actively dying. The ones that had TB were Gavrilo, Nedelchenko, and Vaso were the three. I don't believe that the rest of them were dying. I will say that during this portion of European history, that they were involved in like a nationalist organization. There was a lot of political organizations around at the time, and it probably was just people that were pro Bosnian independence. So they just plucked people who were willing to die for the cause. But the people most willing to die for the cause
were the ones who were already dying.
I've got the consumption. Yeah, why not?
Yeah, I see.
Anyway, just fascinating.
I learned that consumption here on this show.
Yeah, if I knew that I was dying, I'd probably do some crazy shit.
My God,
I wouldn't necessarily kill other people, but I would definitely do things that I wouldn't do if I wasn't dying.
I was about to
If it was
tell
a
on
cause
myself right now, and I will shut the fuck up.
What
if
were
it
you
was a
gonna
cause I
say?
believed in, I'd be down.
I was gonna say I would be all in on some conspiracies. I'd take out a leader or two if I was about to die, man. Fuck it.
I mean, yeah, if it was for a good cause, I would. but-
David Duke, is that nigga still alive? Yeah, I'll pop that nigga for sure.
Is David Duke still? I feel like
I think
David
he
Duke
is
died.
still alive.
I don't even know who that is.
It started the Klan, right?
He didn't start the Klan, but he
Or
did.
he's like a prominent Klan leader.
He was responsible for the resurgence of the Klan after it had kind of petered out, and like keeping those ties alive. He was just a prominent fucking racist and has been for forever. Well, that's my story.
That was great.
Yeah, who's this woman that we're talking about now?
Oh, okay. This week, my white woman. All right, this week my white woman is named Alicia Beth Moore.
All right, that is very white.
Do either of you guys have any idea
No.
who that is?
Not with a name that basic, I do not.
It's Pink. Yeah.
Interesting. I never knew that.
Yeah. Well, I knew her name was Alicia, and if you look at her face, like that's
an Alicia.
That's
Yeah,
an
for sure.
Alicia for sure.
I can see it.
Yeah. So this is gonna be pretty rough. To be honest, I spent more time on my story for next week because I had like so much more to go through for it. But I don't know. I just wrote some stuff down that I thought was interesting. Anyway.
All right.
All right. So her parents, her mom was a nurse, and her dad was a Vietnam vet. And he was also an insurance salesman, and he was also like an activist. Like like when Pink was a little kid, he took her to like march on Washington, and like basically, just like instilled in her like to fight for things that you believe in. Also, it was his dream that he never accomplished to be a rock star.
Yeah, that sounds like a white dad for sure.
Yeah. She also had a brother who got bullied in school a lot, and she like didn't like that.
All right.
All right. So like she had kind of a rough like teenage situation, 'cause she was just like a rebel rouser, and she like got kicked out of her house and stuff, and at one point she got a job at Wendy's, and she only worked there for like an hour, And she was like, nah, fuck this.
Yeah, it's a rough job.
And she was like, she just left. And then, she said she was going on break because it was like,
sure.
Yeah, but she left, and then she called like a while later, and she was just like, "Oh yeah, I'm not gonna come back. I got a record deal."
Did she really?
Nope. Nope.
Wait, who did she tell this to?
Like her manager at Wendy's.
Why?
Because that's I think what she wanted to have had happen.
It was like a fantasy.
She's
Yeah.
manifesting.
It was aspirational.
Yeah,
But
she
like
was-
to her manager at Wendy's, who just like, dude, I don't know. I just want you to come here and make these burgers square.
We need somebody to make the burgers square.
Yeah. But yeah, so she said like 6 months later, she did get a record deal, and she felt like it was because she manifested it by telling her Wendy's manager.
Wendy's manager.
She started out. Oh, her the guy that I guess discovered her was L.A. Reid, who, by the way, was also the guy who discovered Avril Lavigne.
Yep. Yeah, L.A. Reid is notorious in the young
White girl musicians.
and man. Like
really?
he also, I'm pretty sure, discovered like all the boy bands too.
Oh, really? Mm-hmm. I don't know. All I know is Pink and Avril
The
Lavigne.
white pop singer industrial complex.
Absolutely. And what is interesting, just a side note, is that L.A. Reid has his legacy. I mean, at least in the Black community, is taking things from Black pop artists and giving it to his little white kids to just like take it and make it popular, which is something that he did with Pink, and he also did with the Backstreet Boys, because they were Boys to Men were out, and they were like the first like singing dancing group, and then he created the Backstreet Boys to do the exact same thing, and they became more popular than Boys to Men, which is crazy.
That's a like an industry standard though. That goes all the way back to like Motown.
Absolutely, but that's
That's
what
a story
L.A.
for
Reid
another
is,
time.
Known for.
Well, that actually makes sense because she started out singing R&B and like trying to like have like these girl groups. Like they were trying to get like some R&B girl groups together that she was in, but I guess like for some reason that didn't really pan out.
That makes sense.
And so then L.A. Reid was like, you can just go solo if you just want to do that. And so then she did. And she made the album Misunderstood, which was not her first album. I guess her first album was actually an R&B album, but
I remember.
but the Misunderstood
not
album
know
was the one where she came out as like Pink.
The album Misunderstood got me through my teenage years. I loved that album so much, and in it she has a song about like being a kid and dealing with your parents' dysfunctional relationship and them arguing and fighting all the time. And I vividly remember me making my mom sit down and listen to that song because it like moved me so much, and it was like such a perfect encapsulation of what I was going through.
Wait, which song?
It's called Family
Portrait.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Yeah. Speaking of, that song was based on her own childhood. Like I guess like her parents were like fighting all the time and shit, and then finally, they got a divorce, and she was actually really happy about it, which because
I always wish that my parents had gotten a divorce.
yeah.
I think that's a lot of kids' experiences because I feel like our generation is like the first one. I mean, it's not every kid's experience. I'm just saying it's a lot of kids' experience because I think that our generation is the first one where people like marry for love instead of like sticking together because circumstance, like because the generation before us was the first one to like be comfortable with divorce, and I feel like all of their kids were like Oh yeah, you could just like truly like the person that you're with.
Yeah,
You're
but there
with.
was also this mentality of we got to stick together for the kids.
Exactly.
And I really wish you hadn't.
I really wish you fucking had, dude.
Dude, that's what I keep trying to tell my friends, like, you know, who are currently married and have kids and are always complaining about how unhappy they are. I'm always like, do not stay together for your kids, because your kids don't want to feel like they ruined your life.
Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
Yeah. Yeah, it just doesn't seem to sink in. But I don't know. Like, maybe those people had parents who didn't get a divorce and were just kind of silently uncomfortable.
Yeah, or like my mom got a divorce and it really fucked my brother up. So like, I'm not gonna get a divorce. But like,
Yeah, and I think it's a lose-lose
It
situation
is.
as a parent.
That's rough.
But at the same time, it's like there's choices that you can make to limit the damage that it does to your kid. It's not healthy for your kid to sit around and look at their mom being mistreated or their dad being mistreated or whatever. That's not healthy. But it is a lot for a kid to go through with their parents not being together. But it is also your responsibility as a parent to fill your children's lives with like adults who love them and to show them like to show them that marriage is not the end all be all.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
things like it can be really hard on kids, but it's also like the idea of this picture perfect union that's going to last forever is just something we should stop fucking
yeah,
telling
that's also
people.
really damaging to kids.
Because that's where the damage comes in.
Definitely.
You know, we should be, being like, hey, you're loved, you're taken care of, you have shelter, you know, all of these things instead of emphasizing, being with a partner for forever.
Yeah. So I guess like it was like around that time, like when like after her parents got a divorce and she was like happy about it. Her mom sent her to therapy, and then the therapist told her mom that she put the wrong person in therapy. Like it should have been.
Damn.
Yeah. And that's crazy to me because that exact situation happened to me.
Yeah.
Yeah. Or when my grandparents got a divorce and I was happy about it, my grandma sent me to therapy, and my therapist was like, "No, I think she's the one who's sane here."
Wow.
Yeah.
That's so crazy. Especially because your grandparents got back together.
They did. Yeah.
What?
Yeah. When I was like 11 or 12, my grandparents got divorced, and then they got back together after like a year.
Interesting.
And yeah, it was a really weird time. Yeah.
That sounds rough. I'm sorry.
My grandma was like really upset about like being divorced, and I just kept trying to be like, why? Like things are so much more peaceful, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. And it's not like we didn't have money. We had, we still
Some
had all the
people
money.
can't handle being alone, though.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
but,
I wish more people could be okay with being alone. I feel like a lot of bad relationships would end if people were okay being with themselves for long stretches of time.
mm-hmm. All right. Fun fact about Pink is she has asthma.
That's not a fun fact at all.
Well, I mean, she's like a singer. Like, she performs in concert for hours. Plus, she does acrobatics while she's singing.
That is true.
That is a good point. All right. I guess that is a pretty fun fact then.
Yeah.
I'll give you that one.
So, yeah, when she was kind of, like, younger, starting out in her career, she met Carrie Hart. And they've had a very up and down relationship, I think, even still. I don't really know where they're at now, but as far as my research, I think they're still married and doing just fine. But does anyone dispute that? Do you guys?
I don't even know who Carrie Hart is.
He was like a motocross racer.
Yeah.
Okay, that tracks. That makes sense.
She proposed to Carrie with a sign while he was racing in a race, and he came over to her, like he stopped, and she was like, no, like you got to keep going. I'm not going to marry a loser.
That's funny.
Yeah. Then they had 2 kids, Willow Sage Hart and Jameson Moon Hart.
Ugh.
Which I like the name Willow Sage Hart, but I feel like Jameson Moon is a little.
I hate Sage and Moon. I do love the name Willow though. It's a great name, strong name.
Yeah. Wait, what did I say her husband's name was? Did I
Carrie.
say? Okay,
Carrie
good.
Hart.
Because I also wrote Casey.
Because Carrie's a stupid name.
Well, it's
For a
it's
man.
it's just it's like a weird spelling. It's Carey.
Ew.
Yeah.
I just saw somebody named, like, I came across someone named Weldon.
Weldon.
That's not a real
That's
name.
not a real fucking name. But he owns a hardware store. So I was like, yeah, of course, Weldon owns a hardware store.
That's pretty funny.
That's pretty great.
That's clever. But yeah, so her mom told her, I never knew parenting could be this enjoyable until I saw you do it.
What a devastating thing for your mother to say to you. Good God.
Yeah.
Bitch, go to therapy. That therapist was right. You were
Yeah.
come on, lady. What the fuck?
Yeah. Yeah. My dad was pretty cool. Yeah. He was always doing fun stuff with us, like flying kites and going out and picking up golf balls.
Like,
What?
I don't know. It was something that we did.
but I was gonna say that type of shit though. Just like that's because parenting is really not that hard. They just want to experience life with you. You could do literally anything, and they're just happy to be there with you. That's pretty much it.
But that's how I learned about gravity, was with golf balls. Because, like, we had them in a bucket, and like, we would, like, swing the bucket around, and the golf balls wouldn't fall out of the bucket.
That's not gravity.
That's
Well, it's like
centripetal force.
the center. Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure you knew that
Gravity's
wasn't.
involved.
Okay. It is, but okay. That's how Stacey became a scientist.
Dr. Stacey Stark.
This is another thing that also happened to me when she was a kid. She had like some kind of a party, like a birthday party or whatever, and like went through like all this planning, like setting everything up, and then nobody came.
Oh.
I think I've revealed this, at least to you, but that's like my biggest fear. If I planned a party and no one showed up, I'd kiss myself for sure. For sure.
It's devastating.
But that would never happen to me. So.
But she said like her mom like did all the like activities like with her that they were supposed to do at the party, and she said it ended up being like the best day that she's had with her mom.
Aw. Well, at least her mom did that.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, so she went to a Cher concert, and like that's when she saw like all the acrobats and everything.
Mm-hmm.
And she was like later, like she asked like one of the acrobats, she was like, how come, like people do this, but then like other people are singing, how come it's not like the acrobat singing? And they were like, well, because I'm using like my diaphragm to twist and like move myself around, and you're using your diaphragm to sing. And she was like, well, I like a challenge. So
Good for her.
so then that's how she started doing
Her little flippy nonsense.
yeah, that's how she started doing acrobatics and like flying around while singing in concert.
I didn't know she did that.
Yeah, it's pretty cool actually to see it.
We should go see a Pink show together.
And it's probably really expensive.
I actually really dislike it.
I know, you really do. Like I felt weird doing this story like when you walked in here and you saw me watching that documentary, and she was like, oh yeah, she always be flying around.
I don't know why it like just pisses me off. I think it's like I think it's when I watched the show Rocket Power, like I wanted to love that show so bad. But I was like, these kids are show-offs and they have too many talents. And I think that's how I feel about Pink and her flippy nonsense. Like, bitch, stick to something. One thing.
Pick a lane.
I don't know.
Leave it to Cirque du Soleil, ho. Like, stop.
I mean, why though? Why, like, if you're, that rich and famous and you can do whatever you want, why not fly around and...
I mean, she's legally allowed to, but I'm a hater. So I don't like it.
I don't know. I just think it probably makes for a more interesting show rather than just having them on the stage, you know?
Sure.
Because they can like fly. They can go anywhere in the arena, and like she does. Like she'll like land in like different spots in the arena, and like.
I don't like that either.
What?
I paid to see you on stage, not flying around.
Exactly. Exactly.
I get it.
Okay. I don't know.
You can think it's cool, Stacey. I just think it's dumb.
I think it's weird that you guys hate it so much.
I hate it so much. Jesse's
I don't
just-
even know about it. I'm just dunking on this thing you like because it's fun.
Okay. I mean, I'm not like that crazy about it. I just, I don't hate it. I think it's kind of cool.
It's just like, girl, be still. I'm trying to get a picture.
What?
I said, I'm trying to take a picture. Stop fucking jumping around.
Okay.
She is probably harder to throw stuff at, though. I will say that.
Nope. She's
Oh, that reminds me. She said she wanted to do like a magic carpet type thing with like drones, but she can't do it because drones are hackable and someone might steal her.
I hope they do.
The greatest heist in history.
That would be so fucking funny.
Yeah. Okay, what else?
I'm glad though that the team she works with thought of that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like most production teams would not think about the hackability of the drones. So good on her. She has a good fucking team behind her.
It's true.
So, you know how like famous people like for some reason have like a random country that just like really loves them? Mm-hmm. Hers is Australia. Australians are obsessed with pink, apparently.
She probably reminds them of kangaroos.
Because she's always hopping around.
She's always hopping around.
Yeah.
She's like kangaroo colored.
What?
I don't know. She's not kangaroo colored. So also, speaking of the flying around, the first time that she tried to do that in concert, so she has like two girls on either side of her that like attach the like carabiners to the circle thing around her waist. And one of the girls didn't attach it right away because it was upside down. And like Pink, like she tried to like warn the people running it, like don't do it yet. But I guess they didn't see that, and so she only had one attached to her, and it just like pulled her off the stage, like onto the ground.
That's so funny.
But she said I'm not gonna miss a beautiful day just because the day before hurt. That's what she said about it.
I hate her.
I mean, honestly. And it's really difficult for me because I was such a Pink fan when I was growing up. Like I said, Misunderstood got me through like my early teenage years, but everything else.
What?
Trash.
Like, what's so upsetting? I don't know. Can you explain to me your disdain?
Like she named her kids
It's kind of
with
just
the
the whole
sage and
package.
the moon. Yeah, it's like the whole thing. And she always be fucking flipping. She'd come up with dumbass little sayings like that.
Flippant?
Flipping.
Oh, sorry. I got you.
But she is flippant with her stupid ass sayings.
Yeah, exactly. I will not live, die tomorrow, or whatever the fuck she
To
what did
die.
She say?
Today is better to die another day.
She also said she does her own hair like before concerts because it's meditative and it's the only time she has to be alone.
See, this is what I'm fucking talking about.
Yeah.
Oh my god, you have time to like learn how to flip around and do your own hair. Fuck you, Pink. Fuck you, Pink.
She also
She's never going to be on this podcast now.
What?
She's never going to be on this podcast now.
Good.
You know what? I bet if we got to a point where we could get Pink on our podcast, I don't think either of you would say no.
I would say no.
Yeah, fuck Pink. She can flip on
You know,
down
okay,
to another
this
podcast.
would be the only reason why I would say no is because she always says the same stuff. Like I listen to so many interviews, and like I mean, partially, people ask the same questions over and over and over again, but she has these like rehearsed answers, which you hear it one time, you think like, oh, what a cool, thoughtful person. You hear it 10 times, you're like, I've heard you say this exact same thing. So
it's like a comic, but like with her insights about that's I don't like that.
Yeah, it's uncomfortable, but like it's like just be in the moment, like you don't have to have these rehearsed answers for everything,
Yeah.
But so she I guess was invited to Prince Harry's birthday party. I didn't really take notes on this part. I'm just talking about it, so I could be wrong.
Which one's Harry? Is he the one that moved here?
I have no idea.
I don't know.
I have no idea. I know there's like an ugly bald one and a good looking not bald one. And that's all. That's my knowledge of the royal family.
I don't know which one it was, but it was one of those guys. And he invited her to her birthday party, but then she saw this article, I guess, about him hunting like elephants and shit, like for fun.
It's the ugly bald one.
Oh.
Yeah, and so she was like, "Nah, I'm not gonna go to your birthday party because you suck." And I don't know. Yeah.
Interesting.
That's really gross. That he hunts elephants.
But I think it's so interesting to like be in that like type of a position where you can be like, you feel like you're on like a level playing field with someone,
of a prince.
And then you're like, nah, dude, like I don't like your leisure activities.
And that's exactly what we were talking about with if Pink was ever invited on our podcast. We're not on her level, but I'd still tell her no.
That's a good point.
Yeah, all right. More power to you, I guess. But yeah, so I don't know. She's really into like animal rights and really outspoken about fur. And like she said, like if you can sit and watch a video of how like a fur coat is made, like from beginning to end, of like the killing of the animal, like all the way to the end, then go for it. Buy that fur coat. But but if you can't handle that, then you probably shouldn't be.
I just don't give a fuck about animal activism, but I will say fur coats are just ugly, and that's what makes me angry. Like to go through all of that trouble to kill something just for the result to just be fucking hideous.
Yeah. Also, they're not machine washable.
That's what I'm saying. You go through all of this effort, and this is the result, and I don't understand. I don't understand it.
I think they can be kind of balling. I'm not gonna lie. Like,
I've never seen a fur coat that was balling ever.
Really? I don't know. I think I could pull it off.
I think that what people find fashionable is usually ugly and garish. Like, what signifies someone as being of the upper echelon of society? Like, there's the upper echelon of society where their shit is put together. And then there's, like, that tier right below that with everything that they like is just flashy and garish and obscene. And fur coats are that. Unless you're, like, you live in, like, Russia and, like, pelts. You need that shit because it's so fucking cold. I get that, but yeah, not here.
I think it's pretty cold here.
Not that damn cold.
Not cold enough to
wear. I think I look good in like
and we
beaver.
discovered down.
That is true.
So man, fuck y'all.
I could look great in a beaver pelt though.
No, you wouldn't.
Yeah.
You've
yes,
never looked great in your life, Jesse.
I look great right now.
You look like Kevin Smith right now. Okay.
So anyway, when I was a little kid, I guess I felt a rabbit fur at some point, and then I told my dad that I wanted 7 rabbit furs for Christmas. But I was a little kid, so I didn't like make the connection in my brain of like, oh, they're going to kill 7 rabbits and then give me the fur.
What were you gonna do with the rabbit's fur?
I don't know. I was a child.
Yeah, okay, but
kids have weird requests.
Okay, yes, that is true. But like,
I always ask
I'm
for,
trying
like,
to
video
understand.
Games, never 7 rabbit furs.
Is it like a bearskin rug that's just like the outline of a rabbit is just I don't know what y'all do in Iowa, but I've literally never heard of someone asking for one rabbit fur.
Let alone 7.
Let alone 7. And I'm like, what do you do? Is it a decorative piece? What is it?
Well, I used them as like, like fur.
You got them?
Yeah. My dad took the request seriously, and I guess he had a friend who was like...
He was like, yo, I got the rabbit plug. What?
And so he had his friend go out and kill 7 rabbits for me.
Okay, we need to go on a podcast trip to Iowa and meet Stacey's family.
I don't want to meet I don't even want to go to Iowa if that's what they're doing out there.
My dad really wants to meet you guys.
Little fur request. Absolutely not.
Can your dad get me 7 rabbit furs?
Yeah, he would.
This story is fucking insane to me. Because one, you so very casually said, one day I touched a rabbit fur. Like, I've never heard of that in a, in a context like that. It wasn't like I touched a blank object made out of rabbit fur. Like rabbit fur, da-da-da.
They sell them at stuff like Johnny Appleseed or like Ren fairs.
Dude, white people gotta be stopped. Y'all are crazy.
I had one rabbit fur as a child because I wanted it really
God,
bad.
y'all are killing me.
7 of them is crazy.
I'm in shock. I'm gonna have to do like investigation of all of this because I truly had no idea they were just selling.
Let's go. We'll go to Johnny Appleseed this year. I
don't want people to see me looking. I'll do my investigation.
No, we're gonna go. We're gonna go as a group, and it'll be a field investigation.
That is crazy.
On the state of the rabbit fur market.
Okay.
I really don't know what the utilitarian purpose is of a rabbit.
I think it's purely decorative, or like you could make something out of it.
I'm so. We can't continue on this, but my mind is blown right now.
Why can't we continue? It's our podcast.
You damn right it is, but also I got other shit to do today.
Okay. So I just feel like this is
what's more important than this?
This is the most important thing.
You think this is the most important thing?
I quit stand up. We're just doing the podcast now.
I have so many questions.
Okay.
Like, who started this process? Is it just like a gift that's handed to every white child on a birthday or something?
When you turn 13, you're gifted your rabbit fur.
Rabbit fur. Like, I was already blown away that you said rabbit fur. Like, it was just a thing, but like it is just a thing for you to get a rabbit fur.
Yeah.
Like, with no purpose. It's just...
Yeah, you've never been to like one of those old-timey reenactment festivals?
Absolutely not.
I guess, that would make sense.
But you're such a nerd.
Right.
But
not that kind?
No, it's just when y'all be reenacting stuff, you leave some things out.
Yeah,
it's
reenacting a time.
In a way, it's just not history accurate, you know? And y'all be feeling really good about yourselves at these events, and that's not my cup of tea.
I just like the outfits.
I like the turkey legs.
I get it. I hate turkey legs.
And the beer.
I can get beer.
Johnny Appleseed has this delicious pumpkin ice cream every year. It's fire.
I think I'll live my life without that. That's fine.
The onion straw.
Right. You can get beer anywhere, but when you're at a Renaissance festival, you can buy a special mug, which I have one sitting in there. It's that blue one.
Oh, I'm throwing that shit away.
No,
I'm kidding.
It was very expensive.
I feel like Ren fairs are different because that's from like surf times.
What?
Okay.
So like, you could enjoy like a Ren fair, right? It's from like a different.
They have like they sell knives.
Different time.
And like I
don't understand what you mean.
It's
by
like
that.
pre-colonial. So like before Europe came to Africa, so there's not that historic subjugation of your people.
It's not really the subjugation of my people that is my problem. As I stated, it's that y'all be feeling good about yourselves.
It's specifically
that's my problem.
Okay. Let me spell this out for you. You're wearing an old-timey outfit.
Okay.
You buy a really cool mug. And you can just fill it with beer from like different like beer stands.
Right. And then there's
all
knives.
day.
And then you set it on your rabbit friend.
And just walk around a park where other people are also dressed in old-timey clothes and doing old-timey things.
Okay.
and they sell knives and like jewelry and other kinds of stuff, and like there's all kinds of activities. And you're just drunk, dressed up, walking around a park all day. Does that not sound awesome?
That sounds pretty fun.
Okay.
But it's filled with,
happy white people.
Exactly.
I'm sure there's some black. I can't say for certain I've ever seen a black person.
I know I have a mixed friend who just went to a Ren fair recently, so I'm sure they're around sometimes.
Did they enjoy themselves?
Yeah, he loves shit like that.
That sounds like I would.
But he's like married to a happy white man. He likes that in his life. I like my white people.
Are you talking about Corey?
Depressed, yeah.
Okay.
Is that why you hang out with me?
Yeah. All my white friends are sad. Except for Stacey now. I'm going to have to cut her out of my life because she's confident right now.
Just buy a bunch of rabbit furs and then destroy them in front of her.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. I use the rabbit furs as like fur carpets for my Barbies.
That's very cute, actually, and would love that. But I love that for you and like your junkyard people. Iowan,
What the fuck?
Her dad is a junkyard person.
That just sounds really bad.
I usually call them junkyard whites when I was being nice for the podcast. I called them people. And you're still on my goddamn case about it. Anyway, I do love that because it's like, reuse, recycle or whatever. I know they actively murdered the rabbits for it, but I love that you used it as like a little bearskin rug for your Barbies. That's cute.
Thank you.
Why did you ask for 7 specifically?
Yeah,
I was a
weird
child.
number.
I don't know. Kids do weird things.
He got you all 7, not like 3.
No, he got me all 7.
Is that all you got for? Was this your birthday?
No, it's for Christmas. My dad works like in like he owns a leather shop.
Right. He made me a sick ass wallet.
Right. So I'm sure he has these friends who have these resources and he gets a discount.
Huh.
Every time I think about or like I hear about Stacey's dad, it is always skirting the line between is he a good father or is he a psychopath?
Both.
And I can't because like this story is prime example. Like
because I feel
I love that he did what you asked him to
Yeah.
do and like followed your interest, but I also feel like at some point he could have been like, okay, that's not a reasonable request. How about the one that you're allotted as a white child?
You know what I wished he would have done instead of just getting them for me? I wish that he would have told me how they were made and then ask, do you
Are
still
you
want
sure
them?
you want to murder 7 rabbits? Well, have
Yeah.
7 rabbits murdered in your
Yeah.
Name.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I wish would have happened. But
Stacy's bloodlust can't be quenched.
Stacey would have been like, yes, I do, and let me see it happen.
I want to watch.
I probably would have said no at that point, but I didn't know because I was a dumb child.
Oh, watership down.
Those poor fucking Barbies just walking every day on the fucking
The skin
remains of
of these fucking rabbits.
these rabbits that died for no reason.
Did you know they cry when you kill them? It sounds like a baby.
Oh.
Okay. All right. So my story is pretty much over, but I have one last thing to say in closing.
Okay.
This is a quote. Pink said, "I feel like you choose your life before you get here. You choose your parents. You choose your obstacles. You choose the lessons you need to learn." And
You choose to get 7 rabbit pelts for Christmas.
okay, yeah. Well, that was a
Before
lesson
she
I
was
needed to
born-
learn.
She was born. Stacey was destined to get her 7 fucking rabbit pelts.
But I just that stood out to me because I've always felt that way. Like I remember choosing my life before I was inserted into it. Do you guys feel that way?
No.
That's crazy.
And that's
Yeah.
one of the dumbest things I've ever heard in my life.
Well, that's not very nice. But
Okay, I'm sorry.
I'm putting myself out here, you know.
Well, I gotta tell you when you say something that's
yourself
kind of
back in.
dumb. Yeah, put yourself back in.
Okay, but like I have memories, and I remember doing that. So thank you.
Okay, I'm
Thanks
sorry.
for calling me dumb.
I didn't call you dumb.
I called you crazy.
what that saying was dumb, and the fact that you believe that. I called that dumb too. But not you. I honestly, the bit was shitting all over Stacey's story that kind of developed. But I do kind of feel bad for shitting all over Stacey.
I do too. I'm sorry, Stacey.
For
You're not
no
crazy
reason.
or dumb.
It was a good story, and I like pink or whatever.
I stand by the pink thing.
But no, I don't know. I just remember before I was inserted into my life, I remember like seeing my mom and just having like a general idea of like the direction that I needed to go in.
Interesting.
Yeah. And like the things that I wanted for myself.
That's truly insane.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to have to chew on that
It's
for
a
a
thing
long time.
It's a thing that happens when you get reincarnated.
I'm going to have to chew on it even longer. Okay. When you're going to bring Eastern medicine into it.
My story is about a boy named Colton Harris Moore. Do you guys know who that is?
Moore.
Colton Harris Moore.
Oh, that's
That's
pink.
Alicia Beth Moore. Her last name was Moore.
Oh,
Also.
well, they might be related.
And they both had 3 names.
That's
that we
true.
You
listed.
said, what is his name?
Colton Harris Moore.
50 Cent.
No, you might know him better as the Barefoot Bandit.
I don't know who that nigga is
Seriously,
either.
I'm really surprised you don't know who the Barefoot Bandit
Oh my
is.
God.
Does
Okay.
he go around
What's that?
stealing stuff without shoes on?
Does he go
I
around
guess he
stealing
does.
shoes?
He does not steal
With
shoes.
no hands
He is-
on?
I think he's
That was the
anti-shoe.
dumbest thing you've ever said.
It
It's
is.
not.
Sometimes
It's
I get
not.
real silly. Sometimes I'm just a silly guy.
Okay.
Okay, so Colton Harris Moore was born in Mount Vernon, Washington in 1991. Colton was raised by his mother on Camano Island, Washington, and his father was in and out of prison his whole life. His relationship with his mother was really tumultuous. She was quoted saying that there was something wrong with Cole as young as the first grade, claiming that he felt disconnected.
Did she put him in therapy and the therapist was like, nah, it's you, bitch.
Unfortunately not. The neighbors called several times. They called CPS several times, fearing abuse or neglect, if not outright abuse. And at 7 years old, Colton began living in the woods off and on, and he would steal from empty vacation homes in the area because he lived on a small
good
island.
grift.
It is. It's genius.
You said he lived on a small island?
Yes.
Interesting.
So by 13, well, it was called Camano Island. I'm assuming it's an island, but maybe it's a town called Camano Island.
Are you sure it's not pronounced Kimono Island?
I
like
was gonna
the
ask
It's
Komodo
that.
dragon?
Camano. I double checked
Oh.
right before I started.
Oh, okay.
So,
bad.
but by 13, he had been caught a bunch of times. He had a total of 4 different theft charges against him. And while he was in juvenile holding or whatever, he was diagnosed with chronic depression, ADD, and intermittent explosive disorder.
What?
That's exactly what it sounds like. You intermittently just like explode with rage. His mother apparently also did the same thing. She drank really heavily and would just like start breaking shit around the house.
I feel like that diagnosis is just doctors being like, we don't fucking know.
Yeah, we have no idea what the fuck
Sometimes
is
he
wrong
gets
with this guy.
real
He just
out.
gets real mad. But like, if you like, this kid's home life was
They
fucking
should
terrible.
call it
You
Bruce
know,
Banner disease.
they
Call
should.
it what?
Bruce Banner disease.
Who's that?
That's the Hulk.
Oh,
That's
the
the
Hulk.
Hulk's name.
In 2008, while Colton was staying in a group home, he fled and began a crime spree stretching all the way to Illinois. Again, he is in Washington. And what he would do is
Hold on, give me a second. I have a hard time with
Washington's on the West Coast.
Washington, the state,
Yes.
all the way to Illinois.
All the way to Illinois. He would steal
Interesting.
cars in Washington, and they'd end up in Idaho or some
Okay.
shit, you know. And all the while, he was doing the same thing where he was breaking into empty vacation homes, right? And just like he would post up, he would take a shower, he would feed himself, he'd watch TV, he'd hang out, and he would do so barefoot.
Okay.
But eventually, this escalated.
How did they know that?
There were footprints. There were barefoot footprints.
Fallen.
So he's breaking into these homes, right? Barefoot. He's eating their food and shit, bathing. But then that escalated into stealing stuff like laptops, He even stole somebody's credit card information.
It's like you shouldn't leave your shit at the vacation home.
Very
you dumb
true.
fucks.
He ordered bear mace and a $6,500 pair of night vision goggles.
Jesus.
He is living in the woods. And then later on that year, he robbed a grocery store.
I'm interested. I'm sorry, but I'm
Go ahead.
interested to know
What?
how he knew that these were vacation homes. I'm interested to know if he like was at the supermarket. Like,
I think he was just able to like identify
really
them
nice
just by
vacation
years of
home.
experiences.
Shame if something were to happen.
Exactly. He ended up robbing a grocery store later that year, and he left behind a backpack full of evidence that had tied him to all of these break-ins, including like a camera with a bunch of pictures on it. So, facing a bunch of prison time, he steals a plane and ends up crash landing it in Yakima. He ends up crash landing it in Yakima, Washington.
It's pronounced Yakima.
I don't think so. And he learned how to fly planes by playing flight simulators on one of his stolen laptops, which I think is fucking kind of dope. So in Yakima, he robs several more grocery stores in the area, and this time he leaves behind a calling card, and that's outline like chalk footprints, like leading out the grocery store door with a little note that said "See ya."
That's adorable.
He had all the time in the world.
Yeah.
What an exhaustive calling card, dog.
Then he steals another plane, crashes that in Granite Falls, and this is where the manhunt begins.
Can I say that maybe his he shouldn't have learned how to fly from a flight simulator?
Probably, yeah, he has not figured out the landing part. He can get the takeoff, he can keep it
He
in the
went
air.
to the Al Qaeda school of.
Oh, Jesus.
Okay.
He steals another plane, manhunt begins, and it's at this point his photos are released. And Facebook and MySpace groups blow the fuck up because he's a very conventionally attractive kid. So teenage girls all over the internet are fawning over this kid. Like, the chicks want to fuck him and the dudes want to be him, right? So he flees the police for a while, and he ends up partnering with another criminal named
The hand bandit.
Harley David Ironwing, which is
Wait.
the
That's upsetting.
dopest name.
Wait. Say it again.
Harley David Ironwing.
Did he? Okay. So did he make this name for
I
himself?
don't know.
Because he had to have, right?
Probably, but I love the name so much that I refuse to poke into.
I assume he was just like driving down the highway one day and was just in between a Harley Davidson shop and like one of those like World War II military plane museums, and one of them was called the Iron.
The light bulb goes off over his head.
Yes, absolutely.
That's great. So it's at this point that they commit a string of burglaries, and a judge, I believe out of Washington, I forgot to write down where, releases like an indictment, and he obviously stays on the run at this point, and then rights are bought to his story. Somebody wrote a book about him called The Barefoot Bandit. And I think it was Warner Brothers bought the rights to his story.
Wait, bought the rights from who?
Whoever wrote this documentary. Or, I'm sorry,
Whoever
whoever wrote
wrote
this
the book.
biography.
Oh, okay.
And then in May of 2010, police were called when workers at a veterinary clinic in Raymond, Washington, found a handwritten note saying, "Drove by, had some extra cash. Please use this for the care of animals." Signed, Colton. Wait, what the fuck's his name again? Signed, Colton Harris Moore, a.k.a. the Barefoot Bandit.
Did he AKA it?
Yes. Yeah.
Wait, so
Wow.
I don't know.
He just outed himself.
He's been leaving calling cards and stuff. He's like playing into it because he likes the attention, I think.
Okay.
So by the 4th of July, our boy is still at large. Tom Hanks is furious.
What?
Catch Me If You Can.
Yeah.
It's like a real life.
Yeah,
Thank
I
you.
got it. Oh God, that's a great movie.
It is a great movie. When he steals a single-engine Cessna 400 from Bloomington, Indiana. What up?
We're not from Bloomington.
But we're from Indiana. And
I get excited about it.
We're not even from Indiana. Well, you're from Indiana.
I'm from Indiana. I'm a good old boy. I don't like that. Cut that from the podcast.
I got one pelt as every kid should have.
So he stole a plane from Bloomington, Indiana, which was later found. Did you want to guess where it was found?
I don't. No, I don't.
The Bahamas. He flew it to the Bahamas.
Well, how would I have guessed
I don't
that?
know. Do you want to guess how it was found?
He crashed it?
He did crash it. Good job. And then, of course, another mysterious string of break-ins in vacation homes and grocery stores in the area. So, of course, they immediately tie the stolen plane to him.
What happened to Iron Wing?
Iron Wing is arrested at this point.
Okay.
And he sings like a fucking bird.
Like an Iron Wing.
Like an iron, yes. And it's at this point that the FBI places a $10,000 bounty on his head. Okay, pause. He is 19 fucking years old.
Okay, so he got $10,000, a $10,000 reward
on his head.
On his head, which is so low.
Yeah,
who's biting? It's the 90s.
No, this was 2010.
Yeah, that's so low.
Yeah, considering he's like the multiple planes he's stolen at this point and ruined are worth hundreds of thousands of dollars alone. By July 11th, Moore was apprehended. He attempted another escape, this time on a 40-foot long yacht. However, the police shot out the engine. When they got over to the other boat, Moore had thrown his laptop over the side of the boat into the ocean.
Priorities, my guy.
Yeah, well, I mean, I'm assuming there was a ton of incriminating evidence on it or something.
They already got you.
Yeah, they've got you dead to rights,
shit.
dude. And he puts a gun to his head. But the police managed to talk him down. He was arrested, and he was sentenced to in December of 2011. He was sentenced to 7 years, and then again in January of 2012 to another 6.5 years. But he was able to serve the sentences concurrently. Is during the trial that his Facebook groups like blow the fuck up again. Mm-hmm. And people are selling shirts with his like face on them that say like "Mama tried" and shit like that. I kind of want to get one. I'm not gonna lie. It seems like she didn't try that hard, if I'm gonna be honest, though. And then that's it. Now he, I think, is making a living as a motivational speaker. He is not allowed to profit off of the details of his story at all. That was part of his plea agreement. I thought that was kind of interesting. That's it.
That's some bullshit.
Oh, he also started a blog supporting Donald Trump.
Okay.
Oh, no.
Well, okay.
That's the worst part of that story.
Yeah, it is the worst part of that story. Mm-hmm. But also, like, that guy that did all those goddamn financial crimes that the Wolf of Wall Street is based off of is allowed to profit off of his fucking bullshit. Why can't this guy profit off of his
this
fucking
inherently
bullshit?
badass. Yeah.
That's whack.
Mm-hmm. It's the bad.
Was your story the bad story?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. It was bad. I had fun on the ride, though. That was good. Anything else, Stacey?
Yeah, you got anything you guys want to plug?
Does
Any
your
shows?
dad still have the pelts? I bet he does.
No, I mean they were mine. I don't know.
You should plug your dad's leather shop.
It's called Lakeshore Canvas and Leather. It's located in Storm Lake, Iowa. No, I don't know what happened to the rabbit pelts. They got lost or damaged over time, I'm sure.
Tragic.
I mean, it's been like 25 years.
You're not that old. Oh, you are.
I'm 30.
I always forget that. I'm just perpetually 26 in my brain. I don't know why.
It's a weird thing to think.
That's when we met.
That's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well.
All right, let's wrap this puppy up.
I've been Jesse McIntyre.
I've been Lynette Thomas.
And I've been your other host, Stacey Stark.
You guys have been you. Have a great night.